I set super specific goals for the team. For me, it's always just to do more, right? It used to be to double. Doing 40 million in commissions in a year would be hard. So
sorry, double every year?
Yeah, it used to be to double every year. Which is easy when you're doing 200,000, then 400,000, then 800,000, then 1.6, and so on and so forth. Now it's just to do more and to grow, and to bring in more business. So one of my favorite quotes ever is from a jazz musician. I think his name was Roy Hargrove. And on his deathbed, he was asked how he did it, how he was able to create music through drug addiction, through multiple marriages, through this, that, the other, ups and downs of life, right? Markets coming, markets going. And he said, you know what? You take care of the music and the music will take care of you.
Ooh.
And that stuck with me because if you take care of the work will take care of you. So if I focus on money, then it's just not going to happen because a watched pot never boils, right? It's only once you look away that all of a sudden it's boiling. So my goal every day is to bring in as much business as possible. And if I just take care of the business and I take care of the work, success begets success, like we talked about. I keep working my way up that ladder. The team will grow. The business will grow. I'll diversify. I'll be in places I never thought I would be, which is what's happening now. I'll write books. I'll do TV shows. I'll do as much as I can. And it'll take care of us in terms of commissions.
Another thing that you coined is expansion always in all ways.
Yeah.
For our listeners or the guys who haven't seen your vlog yet, which is amazing, you got to catch it. The growth of that vlog in such a short period of time, unbelievable, and a huge congrats to you. Talk to us a little bit about where that came from and what that really means.
Expansion always and always has been my motto since, I'd say, 2010, because that's right around where $1 Million Listing started. And honestly, it wasn't like it was tattooed into me. $1 Million Listing producers said beginning of every episode, you have to have a motto. And I was like, motto? All I say every day is ready, set, go. Because my dad told me to say that when I was a little kid. But that's not really a motto. That's a tagline, right? That's like a mantra. So what's my motto? And I just had to, it took me like a minute to think. I was like, you know what? I always talk about growing. And if you're not growing, you're dying. And I'd rather regret the things I did than the things I never tried. And I don't want to be a sitting pond. I want to be a running river. And growth is happiness. Progress is happiness. Tony Robbins talks about that all the time. Mm-hmm. And so, it's constantly expanding all of the time. Constantly expanding all the time. Constantly expanding always. Expansion always. Expansion always in all types of ways, in all ways. And that's how it came about. That was literally the brain thought.
Okay. Do you find that takes up a lot of time, though, in terms of maybe going after things that you might not have if you would say no sometimes? Because another thing you always mention is you always say yes, which is amazing. But do you ever find that from a business perspective, you might lose out on other opportunities?
No, because I don't say yes to opportunities at the detriment to another opportunity.
Okay.
That's what I have the team for, and you make it work. You say yes and you figure it out. You figure it out. But you also have to be a good person. You have to work hard. You have to be there. I don't say yes to things and then not show up.
Right.
I know a lot of people in this business who say yes to things and then don't show up. And that's not what I mean. You say yes to things and you actually follow through with what you say you're going to do. And you be there on time and you do what you say you're going to do and you look nice and you smell nice, right? And people drive me crazy. But it's the book title originally, I'll give you a little hint. The book title originally, because I always talk about keeping balls up in the air, right? You want to have as many balls up in the air as possible. The original title of the book was Balls Up. And that's how I sold it. I sold it in a bidding war to 6 or 7 different publishers. It was craziness.
Okay.
And then the one who won was like, oh, and by the way, I think we might have to change the title. I'm like, but that's my whole life, is keeping balls up in the air and figuring out how to live in controlled chaos. Because that's how salespeople work, right? The more chaos you can control, the better of a salesperson you can be, and the more deals you do at the end of the day. But they said you can't have balls in a title. The times are weird. You can't do that. So we changed it to the title of the show, which is Serhant. And so you have to figure out like a little kid.
Right.
I think we are taught incorrectly as a little kid to put our toys away when we're done with them before taking out another one. I remember getting yelled at because I'd have G.I. Joes in one corner, a video game in another, and a board game in another. And so my mom was like, well, you made a mess. You made a mess. You got to put a toy away before you take out another one. Like, that's manners, you know? And for me, like, what's really the issue? Is it that I'm not playing with them right now? Because I'm going to go back to playing with them later. The issue is that they're just a mess. So what if I keep them out so I don't have to spend the time going in and out of the cupboard, and I'll keep them out, but they'll be orderly and they'll be nice and they'll be taken care of. That way I can get to them all in an orderly fashion. I'll be super efficient with all of them. And then I can have all my toys in front of me. Oh, and by the way, cupboard's really small, room's really big. Now I have even more room for more toys.
Yeah.
And that is my sales philosophy. You have more room for more deals and more clients than you even understand. You just have to know how to organize and communicate and control that quote unquote chaos or that quote unquote mess so that it's not a mess. A lot of people say yes to too many things and they're crazy. They're like chickens with their head cut off. That's the standard real estate agent. And that's what I wrote the book for. I wrote the book for people that don't want to be that, who want to have a controlled sense of volume, because, you know, I never want the feeling, and I feel like I'm rambling, but
no,
I never want the feeling of, like, I talk about it in the book a lot too, but, you know, I think every salesperson has had that feeling where you have a deal and then the deal dies.
Yeah.
And it's like in the pit of your stomach.
For sure.
And like that person just called me, Sandy Krause, an attorney, probably telling me a fucking deal's died. So I'll call him after. Sorry to swear, but it's, it is like that pit in your stomach of like, what am I going to do? Right? Because you live and die by like one or two deals at a time.
Do you find that too? Because I feel it all the time. I remember the deals I didn't close.
Yeah, always.
More than the ones.
Yeah, that's why the book is full of failure. Because it's like, it was so much easier for me to remember the details of awful deals that didn't work out than it was to remember like the great ones.
Right.
You know? So I tried to mix it up as much as I could. But that volume is there because I never wanted to have that feeling again. Because if that attorney who just called me is going to tell me a deal's died, it's going to suck. I'd rather do it, obviously.
Sure.
But I have 60 more that are going at any given time that will keep me okay.
The whole principles of plenty, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
Know, and it's not throwing shit up against the wall and seeing what sticks. It's controlled business model to handle as many clients as you can, and then doing it through leverage. Right? The team is there not because I want to make money off of them. The team is there so that I can make more money and do more business. They're there to support me. And if they happen to do deals on their own and I'll make money from those, that's great. But that is pure bonus and gravy for me. I don't count that.
If you found that video valuable and you want to watch the full discussion, click here for my podcast. If you want to watch more videos, click here.